All right, go ahead.
All right, everybody, welcome aboard. It's July 7th, 2025. You're at the Town of Poolesville Commissioner meeting, the first meeting of July, maybe the only meeting of July. We'll see how that goes. Depends on what the agenda looks like as time goes on. As always, we'd like to start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I'll go ahead and get us rolling. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, right after July 4th, too. Good stuff. Thank you, my friend. Who, among the commissioners, who attended the fireworks? Anybody?
Yeah, I did. I represented us.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ed.
Not a problem.
How was it?
It was good. Actually, it was really good. It wasn't overly crowded. You could see fireworks in Leesburg. You could see fireworks in Rockville. Turn around, see fireworks in Germantown.
Right, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seemed like the grand finale went on for a long time just from my house, perspective. So I guess it was, we got our money's worth on that one.
Yeah, it was good.
It's good news.
Band was good. People liked
Yeah,
the food
good.
truck.
Good, yep.
Yep.
Hey, Link, we
Hey,
just
Link.
got started. Yeah, well, I'll get into that a little bit more during the announcements. So, thanks everybody again for being here. It's good to see everyone again. It's been a while, at least for me. I know you guys were all together in Ocean City, and we'll talk more about that in a little bit. Okay, so this is part of the meeting where we get together and have our commissioner reports and our committee reports. So, Alan, if you're ready to go, we'll start on that end and bringing it all around.
All righty, last Parks Board meeting. Well, first of all, what we got out of quick with the MML Parks and Recreation Association, we applied, and Preston and I will be representing the Parks Board for the MML. So, get a little bit more insight on that. I think it was well worth the small investment.
Good job.
Just education, and however we can make the town better. Did a couple other things. I think we have completed the Spurrier and Bodmer speed study, I should say. We're going to have some MCPD, a little bit more enforcement visuals for the police officers. Obviously, most of the speeding happens during school season, so it won't be as prominent, I think, in the summertime. But come August, or I guess September when they start up, we'll just have to be in communication with MCPD to make sure they're there on the appropriate streets. Talked about Eagle Scout I believe he has installed all the benches now at both the JPMS Pond and the Pollinator over at Collier Circle. Had the youth fishing tournament again this year, which was a good success. I know Preston was excited about that, and had a great turnout of both young boys and girls, about 30% girls this time. So our fishing numbers are looking good on that, but my expectations are always good for the guys, and they're always on top of it, considering all the rain that we had. We also talked a little bit about a possible, never really had a ceremony to dedicate to some of the youth and others that use that park. Don't really have much damage or anything, or graffiti or anything like that to it, but, keep the art theme for the kids and adults. So we'll have to schedule just a visit to the skate park and just get an idea of where we can put that mural. So there was some issues about being too close together, safety issues, injuries, playing in other people's courts. So we reduced it by 2, and everybody is on board with that. It was actually their idea, the pickleballers, to get rid of the 2 courts. So
Now with Preston a lot, so you can be coming to the meetings in camo.
yeah, I can. Just camo, Poolesville, Maryland shirts.
Yeah, it's good, man. That's fine. Yeah, official uniform.
Are we 10 feet now between?
Yes,
That's what it's going to be.
it's what it's going to be. We haven't done it yet, but it will be.
Yeah, with that.
Yeah, it still have to be relined and all of that. We have a further conversation on that.
It's pickleball courts. That's great.
Yep.
Part of that helps with tournaments and things like that. So that was part of the discussion of actually hosting tournaments there. They
Okay.
Have to meet safety standards. Yeah.
Right. Just court
Sounds like
standards.
some good, collaboration between
about
different
that? Yeah.
parties. Good job.
And Alan, real quick, you all are still looking at having some students help.
They continue.
I've been telling them to get in touch with you.
Yep, thank you.
You're welcome.
Got plenty of time, Ed.
Oh, that's great. Okay, good stuff. And nothing else, Ed, no other responsibilities to put on Alan while you're here?
I think he's doing a great job.
That's perfect. Okay, Alan, thanks for the report. Appreciate it. Brian?
Yeah, the 11th of June, we met with the Planning Commission. We had a variance for Grace Cottage's driveway access, making it a 3-unit driveway, right?
Yes, three houses on one driveway.
And we recommended that to the Board of Zoning Appeals to approve that. So it just makes a lot of sense. I think we talked about it a little bit last meeting. Also got a concept plan for the Colehouse property on Wooten Avenue. A lot of feedback for that. There's a lot of public testimony about that. Not a lot of public favor for that, but a lot of testimony. Major concerns were traffic in that area during school hours. So we obviously, echoed those sentiments to the presentation team. I guess that was.
Yeah, we're actually drafting a letter to them that will include all of that feedback and some technical specifics
Yeah.
related to that property as well.
Yep. So I think we maybe have a different thought about a way we could go and make it a little bit better. But of course, the last part of my update is really the telling part, and that's we decided not to make any adjustments to our water allocation moratorium. We're still going to wait for more. We did get the water system redundancy plan from staff, discussed how we could in the future work to build in some redundancy and might make us a little bit more comfortable with releasing allocations. But at this point, we're not going to change that moratorium.
Was there some big cheer from the crowd, or did anything like that take place?
It really wasn't. Surprisingly, there wasn't. I don't think that there was anybody there for that topic, right? Everybody was there, to more or less oppose the Wooten Avenue property development. So it was really, the room kind of cleared out, and I don't think there was really anybody there to.
So you outlasted
appreciate.
them. Good political strategy, outlasted them that night. All right. That's good to hear, man.
And then we just tabled. We still have, obviously, with all these agenda items, the Cultural Arts District stuff just gets pushed back and back and back, and we didn't even discuss it. We just tabled it. It's getting kind of late after 9, I think.
Good. That's right. You guys always have a full plate, so appreciate that. Good. Any questions for Brian, you guys? Ed, no added responsibilities for Brian either while you're at it.
I got some time. If you
Not,
got-
not at this moment,
But let
we can always create something together.
Okay, you guys, very good. Thanks, Brian, for that report. Appreciate it. Ed, are you ready to go, or which one do you guys want to do
Pass it
first?
Sarah, then I'll go, then I'll do.
Okay, you guys always determine that.
Yeah, my report is pretty short because we haven't met since last month. And I gave a report immediately after our meeting last month. So we are meeting this Thursday. We're continuing to work through the Poolesville Day breakfast, both the agenda and for example, we're trying to come up with or determine who is going to be our hero. What's the formal name of that? The champion of the Western County. So we're having some offline conversations about that because we don't want it to be public knowledge until it's selected. One thing that I would love all of your help with, we're going to have some slides up playing on the TVs around the room to honor the agricultural community. So if you have friends of yours who are farmers, we're looking for pictures of people farming in the ag reserve. So I'm making that as a public announcement. If you want to submit your photos, email them to us. But also I'll reach out to farmers that I know. We'll put together a nice photo slide. And then we're continuing to work with Poolesville Day committee on an opportunity to honor our agricultural heritage as well.
Nice.
So,
That's good to hear.
Yeah, working on all that.
Fantastic.
Oh, I guess one more thing. Separate from the the person that we are honoring. We are going to be honoring farmers in general. And Link and I were discussing whether that should be we're trying to do something other than a proclamation. We'd like it to be something that can be more visible to the public and have, longer lasting effect. So we've discussed potentially like a mural inside town hall that would maybe show the history of agriculture from like Native Americans to today. We've also talked about maybe a tractor like bench on Wayland Commons, something where people could like take pictures with it, sit on it, but also have some information honoring the farmers in our community. Anyways, if you have any ideas, we are open to ideas. And of course, we will bring all of our ideas to you all for approval as well. Once
Right,
we,
only a couple more meetings
yeah,
till it, so
yeah,
we'll have to make sure we get it nailed down.
yeah.
Appreciate it. That's good, good report, Sarah. Any questions for Sarah, you guys?
I'm good, thank you.
We, Alan and I were in what was the name of that meeting, but it was they were talking about the parks, the interactive parks in Myersville, maybe?
Yes.
But the kind of the theme was that the successful parks have been the more interactive parks. So they kind of were going off in the bouldering things, but they also kind of just talked about just like you just said, like a bench you can sit on that actually has a story to it. And I would say that my thinking about honoring farmers, I think that would be outdoors.
Yeah.
So I think could be a really nice addition to Wayland's Commons and something that could actually grow.
Awesome.
So my thoughts.
Yep.
Good feedback.
Got it. Okay, Sarah, thanks. Ed, are you ready?
Sarah, I don't have any other additional work for you.
Oh,
Okay.
he declares it early on.
All right, so a couple of things. What I'll do is I'll tag on for fair access, and then I'll go over sustainable Poolesville. So on June 20th, I attended the the breakfast with Balcom, and so I'll just share out some of the things that came out of there. And it was well attended, and you had our commander Jordan Stansky. He was there. A lot of good conversation about working with the officers and some of the things he had shared, because some people were concerned about the limited number of officers and who comes out. And so some of the things he had encouraged folks is make sure, instead of just like people complaining, but to make sure they're calls. People are putting in calls. And so they also they track that data, how many calls are coming out. And so when you look at that large district, how many calls are put out for officers to come here versus those other districts. So that's one thing. He also said it's important for everyone, not just commissions, but for everyone to follow up with the policymakers about the decisions on how local police will be stationed. He also talked about the importance of people using MoCo Connect to register home cameras. So if you have the Ring, there's a program on MoCo Connect where you can help the police department by registering with MoCo Connect as they're going through working on solving different things that happens. And see, other than that, you had someone from the farming community that was there. You had wide variety of residents, and so like I said, we probably had over 20 residents there. You had a nice group of folks. You had the chief of volunteer fire department. He was there, and so I would encourage everyone when Councilmember Balcom is having these events at locals, I would encourage you to go out and go. And so it's important. And there's also a compliment about how being organized and having your voice heard and the work that Fair Access is doing. And so that's just tip the hat off to Link and your leadership for doing what you continue to do. And Jim, your idea to create a Fair Access, so I think it pays off. In terms of sustainable Poolesville, we haven't met since our last meeting, and we do have an opening on the sustainable Poolesville committee. We have a person who's not going to be in the country, so she stepped down. So if you have anyone that's interested in applying, they can get in touch with Niles or Donald Street and learn more about what their responsibilities would be.
Great. Thank you for that. Appreciate it. My report's just going to be small. We're working, again, in my dual role as working as a commissioner, is also on the Fair Access Committee or as adjunct to the Fair Access Committee. We've got plenty of things going on. We're continuing to push the ball forward, obviously, on the pool bubble, making sure the community center stays funded. We're watching and anticipating the finishing up of Poolesville High School, and there'll be a dedication ceremony that's going to take place for both the athletic fields and the gym. And I wanted to say, also too, thanks to Alan and his relationships, as well as the advocacy of the Fair Access team and the commissioners, looks like there's some really positive things moving forward in terms of the Poolesville High School. I don't want to say any more because you would already said it if we could talk about it.
Yep.
But they've got some really positive things going on with the high school in terms of the athletic fields and the grounds, et cetera. Long overdue things. So that's pretty exciting, and I'm sure we'll have more to say about that coming up in the future. We're also working, and we haven't given up on the co-op idea, and I'll give everybody a briefing offline on that one, but we're still talking about some ways to bring that together. We just had some more conversations today about it. There are some avenues that are out there that might open up that may make it worthwhile for us, and we may be coming to the town for just a little bit more money to ask about, to do one more minor study to see if a particular location can work for creating a co-op. So, but I'll bring that up to everybody at a later date. We'll make sure we get plenty of agenda time to talk about it, and you'll have materials ahead of time as well, so you can kind of consider it. The staff and I meet on every Monday before the meeting. We talk about a variety of things. Mostly it's just like the mechanical aspects of running the town and what we're doing here. We'll hear a lot about it during the town manager's report, where we're talking about the electricity being run out front. A lot of people came to me over the weekend and thought that the new development was taking the electricity from town hall. There's always good conversations going on out there. John, I didn't call you over the weekend. I knew that wasn't true.
Didn't matter, I got called anyway.
I figured. I knew it wasn't true. But we have, also too, just conversations about. We talked today about updating our website. We've got some more things going on that we need to put out there to the people that we can all reference when people ask us questions. There's going to be questions about what's going on Main Street and the two developments for the next 2 years at least, maybe 3 years. So I want our website to be like the referral point for everything that's going on. The guys are doing a good job of keeping on top of it. We're just going to keep having conversations and make sure. So if you guys see something that's on the website that you don't think it's working just the right way, make sure you reach out to the guys. I know you already do that already, but like the information's critical. That we've had our water meeting, we've had our development meeting. We need to have our website reflect everything that we've done so far, and to make sure that people see with real transparency where things are going and what we're doing. Have people come to where I work on the weekends, wherever that is, and they ask. It's like you're probably not young, you're not old enough for this, but kids ask the darndest questions. I think it was Art Linkletter or something like that. Our residents ask the darndest questions when they come into my open houses, and it's actually you get really good feedback on what we're doing. So our website will reflect all that as time goes on, and appreciate town staff jumping on it as usual. Okay, that's it for me. We have the public comment part of our meeting right now. So I'm not sure. We have 3 people that are signed up. Alandra, did I say that right?
They're all
Yeah.
Poolesville cats.
Yeah, well, I don't think Jerry is.
Oh, except Jerry.
I got some other things.
Okay, so,
One online also.
Yep.
and we have one online. Is that for the cats? Do we know?
He did
Not
not,
sure what the subject is.
yeah.
Okay, so for talking about Poolesville Cats grant request, we'll wait till we get to that part of the agenda, and then I'll do a quick introduction. Then anybody's welcome to come up and give testimony on that, and you can have some back and forth with the commissioners on it as well. Jared, are you okay with limiting your comments to the non-cats part of this for right now? Okay, Jerry, come on up and introduce yourself, please.
Good evening, Commissioners. Jerome Klobakowski, 17300 Fletcher Road, Poolesville, Maryland. I attended the fireworks on the 4th of July down at the old polo grounds. And I remember in the past that they used to have a flag there, and they would play the national anthem before the start of the fireworks. That did not happen. And neither was the banner that said the town of Poolesville was a major contributor to the fireworks. And we are the major contributor. We contribute the most money. I forgot how much it is right now. But it's like, we deserve credit for it because it's our taxpayer dollars are putting it on. So that's one thing.
Just to address that real quick.
Yeah.
So we did have that conversation already, and we'll be talking about it a little bit more, not necessarily during the town manager's report, but it was immediately addressed.
Okay.
In terms of everything you just referenced.
Well, I didn't see it
And
out
then
there.
some.
No one ran and got it and put it out.
It's not just that, but it was also in terms of the online advertising was,
Okay.
I really don't want to say anything.
I know, same old is what's been before. Okay, another thing.
Thank you.
No policeman or fireman told the parents of 3 young children that they cannot run around with lit sparklers in their hands. Now, maybe that's all right in their backyard, and I guess sparklers are actually illegal in Montgomery County. But one thing to do it in your backyard where it's only you and your family. But when you have a mass of people, and those things are extremely hot, that you could burn somebody, no policeman, no fireman said a word. So it's like, what gives there, And the other thing is 3 other things. The enforcement of the town's sign ordinance seems to have lapsed, specifically the U-All tag and title place on the Greenberg property off of Fisher Avenue. I brought that up. I don't know how long it takes for somebody to rectify putting the signs in a different place or removing the ones that shouldn't, but it hasn't happened.
Can we time out for a minute? Town staff, do you want to address?
We had a conversation with the owner there. And
When you say owner, you mean Greenberg?
no, the owner of the business. The
Okay.
business itself.
Because Greenberg, who's the owner of the property, is the
Yeah.
one who's supposed to really approve the sign, as I recall, according to our ordinance.
Well, so the
Thank you.
owner of the business applied for signs and a sign permit under the sign code.
Okay.
And so they had placed one of the signs in a position that obstructed. They moved that sign. There are other things that we addressed with them as well. We had a conversation with them. But we can further address whatever the further concerns are. But we did have a conversation with them, and we had them move. We've also had them remove the sign completely from that property. So we're just working through.
Okay, I haven't driven by today, so I haven't,
Yeah.
okay. The other thing, with respect to the police, a lot of people are scared of retribution if they call on their neighbors or someone else who they see is doing something, some sort of illicit or illegal activity. I assume MCPS did at one time have an anonymous calling number where the individual would not be identified to the perpetrator. So I don't know if that's still the case or not.
Yeah.
But, if you're going to put something out, you better put out that, because there's a lot of people, they're shy. And some people, they call town hall. Who do they call? You guys, even though you can't do anything. And this has been going on since before and when and after now that I've been a commissioner. And the last thing is, Westmont area seems to have been losing power numerous times during the past 2 years. And I have a friend over there, and every time that he's lost power, I've always had power. And I remember back in the early 2000s where we were losing power throughout the town for a long time, and finally Potomac Edison got in there, and they changed at least one of the feeder lines and some of the other lines in the town. So I'd recommend someone contact Potomac Edison, because it's a little disturbing, because I've heard that power's been out for 5-6 hours or more. Or if someone goes on and says, on the Potomac Edison website, and it says, oh, power will be restored in 2 hours. 4 to 6 hours later, it finally comes back on. So I'd recommend, because You got food and stuff. It ain't cheap anymore. Your refrigerator or freezer goes out unless you have your own generator to keep everything going. You're going to have some spoilage there. Anyways, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Jerry.
Thank you. Anything you guys want to address?
We hadn't had any reports of power being out or the well being out, so I'm not sure. We'd have to look further into it to see exactly what that potential cause may be. The feeder line does come down Cadtel, which is separate from it.
Right.
Look into it, yeah. It's the first I've heard of it.
Okay, very good. Appreciate that. And that's, Jerry, thank you for the heads up on that, as well as your testimony. Appreciate it. Sir, you just walked in the back. Did you have any public comment, or if you're going to be commenting on the cats, then we can give you a minute? You're just a spectator? All right, I'm going to hold you to that. Now, your commentary is welcome at any time. Appreciate that. All right, very good. Did we figure out what's
He has not responded to the
prompt?
written prompt, so if you want, we can ask him to unmute if he has questions.
Yeah. Can you hear us over there?
Yeah.
Hello. Yes. Hey, online commenter. Can you? Is it Bob? Bob. Okay. I'm sorry. I see it in the corner. Bob, I'm not sure. Are you providing a testimony on the cats, or you just have general commentary?
He muted himself again, so.
All right.
You can, if you can unmute, Bob?
I was going to talk on the cats.
Okay.
Okay. So when once we get done with the cats presentation, then we'll bring you back in. Is that okay?
That's fine.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate that. Very good. All right. Anybody else? General commentary. No one else has signed up, so I guess we're going to move on to the next part of our agenda. It's approval of the minutes from our June 2nd meeting, 2025. I believe all of us were here for that one. So, if anybody has any questions, time now is to raise them. Otherwise, can we get a motion?
I motion to approve the minutes from June 2nd, 2025.
Motion made by Sarah. Do we have a second?
Second motion.
Second by Ed. Is there any questions about the minutes? Further commentary? All in favor of approval of the minutes of June 2nd, 2025, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None? All right, guys. Thank you. That was a tough vote. Good job. All right, new business, Poolesville Cats. So you guys were scheduled to be at a previous meeting, and we just, for background and history, we tabled that presentation. We appreciate you guys coming back in. We're not sure who's going to be providing lead testimony. I'm assuming it's going to be Richard, or is there, who is it going to be? Alondra is going to be our lead testimony, and of course, she signed up in the number one position, so I should have guessed that. Alondra, come on up, introduce yourself, please, and give us your full name and address.
My name is Alondra Morera. I am the secretary on the board of directors for Poolesville Cats Incorporated. I live at 17685 Coalhouse Road, Poolesville, Maryland, 20837.
Great, thank you. So tell us what you're doing. We have a grant request in front of us that's been submitted previously, and the commissioners all have a copy of it.
Yes, we submitted a grant for aid providing for cats within the town of Poolesville. We are a registered 501c3 who takes care of and helps abandoned, homeless, injured cats in Poolesville, and recently we've started reaching out a little bit into surrounding areas. We became a 501c3 in October of 2022. Richard Gardner founded Poolesville Cats a long time prior to that. And between 2022 and 2023, we aided 26 cats. Between 2023 and 2024, that almost doubled to 53 cats. And so far this year, we are just over a dozen cats that we have supplied food to, medical aid to. We have gotten off the streets and into loving adoptive homes or into colonies where they can be monitored by a responsible adult. Poolesville Cats is not just TNR. We do trap, we do spay and neuter, we do vaccinate. We have released, I think our average is 2 cats per year. Our main focus is to get these cats off of our streets and get them into homes where they can live happy, healthy lives.
Interesting.
It's also become a huge problem in Poolesville. White's Ferry has become a dumping ground for unwanted litters of cats. I can tell you last year we picked up 4 litters of kittens. 3 of them were on White's Ferry's road, and one of them was actually right back here in one of the trees behind Town Hall, where people are just coming regularly, finding a secluded area and dumping unwanted animals. So these animals are usually unneutered and unspayed, and so they reproduce with great amounts, and then they run rapid around the town. And there are some people who are loving and put out food and water and take care of these cats, and then there are others who do not like the aggravation. They don't want the cats around, and then they call animal services. We are registered with animal services as a rescue. So if they find a cat on our streets, they will call us. They'll give it 3 days, and they will call us and say, "Hey, this was in Poolesville. Do you want to take care of this cat?" This is also good for the cats and for Poolesville as well, because these cats, when they go to animal services, mainly end up euthanized. So there's a loss of life there that doesn't need to be a loss of life. But our numbers are going down, which means that our trapping and neutering and spaying is helping. And I mean, that's our goal, is we want to keep the number of abandoned and homeless animals in Poolesville down. We want to keep awareness up for those who have outdoor animals as well. We've had people post on our Facebook page when they've lost a cat. We have lots of eyes in the town. So there have been times where we have found cats within hours of them getting out. But
Great.
yes.
Fantastic. Do you guys, is there anything else? Because we'll get the rest of the testimony. If you're signed up, you're welcome to add to it. Yeah, then come on up, Richard. Thank you very much for that. We appreciate the presentation.
Richard Garner, President, 19746 Wooten Avenue, Poolesville, Maryland. I guess 10 years ago I got involved with, well, maybe 15 years ago, I was helping Somerset County's cat problem over there. They run rampant over there. And then one night I was coming home from work, and there were 12 cats sitting on the corner of, what is that, the street right behind me, Lily? Lily Street, right in the middle of the road. I was working nights, so it was like probably 4:30 or 5 when I got off and got home. So I could see, my days at Somerset were over with, and we started, Poolesville Cats got started. I was working, and Dr. Eeg was giving me a good price, so I was catching them, he was neutering them and spaying them. But anyway, it's changed now. There's not very many, well, we got 2 young cats running around my court right now, but that's the only ones that have been running around for quite a few years, because we spay and neuter them. And you see, I think what happens here in town, I don't know if it's so much of a dumping area, because look, if you wanted to get rid of an animal and you lived in Silver Springs or Gaithersburg or something, you're not going to drive 20-mile round trip to dump your cat. These cats are from Poolesville. People get the little kitty, and then the kitty grows up, and the kitty doesn't play with the children anymore or whatever, and it goes outside. They let it go outside, and they don't really pay much attention to it. And before you know it, if they didn't get it spayed, we've got 4 or 5 kittens sitting underneath a dumpster, with a mother cat and a couple of tomcats waiting for her to come in heat again. And that's how you get 12 cats sitting on the corner in front of my house. We've got a good grip on things in this town. you want to see cats, you're probably going to have to go down into Westmont, where I have a feeling I know how that started about 10 years ago, and most of those cats, or all of them, are all neutered and spayed. They're all about 7 or 8 years old, and they're doing well. And there's caretakers down there. We have caretakers everywhere, which are our eyes. Sometimes we give them food to take care of them. Most of people in town, oh, that's all right, I'll buy the food, type thing. I wanted to bring up why we need this grant. We spent a lot of money on cats, medical, neutering, spaying, driving them. This year, we got I think there was a post on one of the Facebook page. I know it hit Poolesville Cats. It might have been on the community board also, about a cat in distress in Cohoes. I've seen this cat there for 2 or 3 years. People would take pictures. Anybody know this cat? We get that all the time. We're going to establish a website. We're going to have all the cats in town that roam around pictures, so we know where they are, who owns them, et cetera, or if it's a stray, what neighborhood he lives in. But we got a call, somebody called me, he's out here now, he's sick. I went over and I trapped him, I took him over to Peachtree within minutes. They Poolesville vets know us, and we've got accounts there. We spent $7,500 on that cat. You can't pet it, but we weren't going to let it die, because part of our mission is to take care of the cats in Poolesville, the best of our ability. Well, it turned out we spent $7,000 on it. Most of that was putting him to sleep every 2 days, changing his bandages, gauzing him up. Somehow or the other, he got torn up. We don't know how. I thought a fan belt. The veterinarian says, no, we don't know, but he's all infected, blah, blah, blah. So a week and a half, he was going in for every other day for about a week, and then it was every 4 days. And of course, we've got a foster taking care of him. He needed medicine 3-4 times a day, and then we had to transport him back and forth to the vet. But we spent about $7,500 on him. Where is he now? He's at another foster out here on Edwards Ferry Road, getting read to every night. The lady likes to read, so she just reads out loud. She's done this before with a cat that was called the Count of Poolesville, who's still alive, who old-timers know about. But he still can't be petted. But like we mentioned earlier, we put a lot of time into our cats that we get here in town. If they've got a chance to be somebody's pet, we're going to give them that chance. Some of them stay, like Denise was just saying, she's got one in her basement. Well, he's upstairs now. He's coming along fine since January. Now, he's almost ready to go. And we've had some others like that. That takes 2 or 3, 4 months. Somebody's patiently working with them, and we get them into a house. We don't get complaints on these cats. By the time we get them to somebody, they're pretty friendly. Some of them are already friendly because, like I mentioned, people give these kittens socialization, and then when it grows up, it's not as much fun. He doesn't play with the string, and he's outside, and they skip a couple meals, and a cat, they're survivors, and they want to go where they're comfortable, so they look around for another place to live. But the town has supported me for 10 years, supported Poolesville Cats. They donate $50 or $20 or something like this, or bring towels by from the thrift shop, and since we've been 501, people of course are able to get tax deduction, so that's helped us a little bit. And but the town and the community has really been supporting Poolesville Cats for the last 10 years, especially since we've gotten bigger. We have over 1,000 members, and probably 85-90% of them are from a stone's throw from this room. you know, and up into Barnesville and Dawsonville. That's our territory. Montgomery County did offer us to take Gaithersburg, Clarksburg, and all that, and I said, no, we're not going to get diluted. I want to do my job here in Poolesville. We want this perfect. So, but you know, money's been tight. We've had a big hit with KC, the cat that cost us $8,000, and yeah, I feel bad about asking people for money, you know, indirectly or directly. So we found out about this grant, and I said, well, gee, you know, that would cover 25% of our expenses a year, you know, our medical and food and replenishing traps or something like that. And so that's why we're here, you know, trying to get get $2,500 to help us out, because we're treading water right now. So and it's like's been said, you know, we've got a pretty good grip on the cats. We know who owns what cat, and they're not running around. If we find out, we bird dog them, we'll catch them, we'll try to get them home, and if it's unspayed or unneutered, we get that done almost right away, you know. But anyway, that's all I got. And
Richard,
sure would
thank you
appreciate
for that
the
testimony. That was really
opportunity to get a
interesting,
grant.
and I appreciate your efforts over many, many years. I've seen you in action, so I know what you do, and I appreciate that. Very good testimony.
I'm just glad we don't have the same problem with dogs.
Right, yeah, well, there'd have to be a totally
They've been known
separate
to
group.
run a long way.
Yeah, yeah.
Knock
knock
on
on
wood.
Yeah, appreciate that. That's really good. Any other testimony in terms of asking for the grant and proposal for the grant?
Could I ask a question of them first before we move
absolutely.
on to
Well,
other testimony?
Yeah.
How many, so you have over 1,000 members. How many like volunteer / foster homes do you guys work with?
How many fosters do we
Yeah,
have?
like fosters.
We just picked up one last week, along with 3 kittens and a mother. And she's really good. But fosters, in this room, we've got 3. 1, 2, 3. Who have fostered. Nancy Piot's a foster. Melissa Duncan is a foster. Beth Doolittle is a foster. We've had some temporary, and who am I missing? Paige. Sugarland is handled 4 of them for us, or 3 of them for us.
Wow.
Just recently from the Buddhist temple. And it looks like they've all gotten homes. And they were all sick, and we had to spend a little money on them. But half a dozen good fosters.
Yeah.
That's a key, you know, fosters. You can't do anything if you can't, you know.
Yeah.
I've only got so many bedrooms, we can only handle so many.
Right. You don't have a separate facility. So this is really being run on volunteer hours and
Volunteer
homes.
hours and volunteer money.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's great. I think the work that you are all doing is very admirable.
I swear we got a lot of good people in this town.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
have a big heart when it comes to animals, really.
Good.
So thanks for that, Sarah. Any more questions for the team while we're standing up there? I do want to get the other testimony in, and then we can bring these guys back up for some more
Okay.
questions once we hear from the other members who want to provide testimony. Yes?
I didn't know if you guys wanted average number, but average each year we get about $15,000 in donations, and the majority of that comes in on Poolesville Day.
Oh, that's great.
Whenever we have a big case come in as well, and this is donations coming in through Poolesville residents.
Yeah.
So definitely a big heart out there. We have, like Richard said, over 1,000 members on our Facebook page, and we look out for each other's cats. If we have outdoor cats, someone's cats get out, we have those eyes. We can find them within a short amount of time. What else?
I have a question for you since you're up there. So do you guys file, you have a financial report that you file, and have we seen that? Has that something that's come in for us?
Did we provide that?
The only reason I'm asking is because if we're considering putting, creating some sort of grant process, I mean, normally there's a paperwork requirement that leads to tell us more about your organization from what donations do you have coming in? Where has the money gone? We would distribute our grant if we were to alert one based on receipts and what have you used the money for. I mean, it's just all good stewardship of the taxpayers' dollars, if it were to be considered. So I'm not saying we need that tonight. I'm just asking if that had been provided in any way. I know you guys have done it because you've had money coming in, and then you also got money obviously going out. I have one more question about that too. You don't have to answer that last one. What have you received funding from any professional groups? Is it all just individual dollars that have come in? It's not some other like SPCA or some other group, Montgomery County funding, anything like that?
No, we have not gotten in any other grants or any other loans or funding. It is all coming out of the beautiful people of Poolesville and their donations, and the hard work of the board and our volunteers.
And then you say the biggest component of your fundraising usually is Poolesville Day, and you set up a booth. I'm familiar with that.
Yes.
And you're out there soliciting, which is great.
We do a few annual fundraisers, the biggest one of which is Poolesville Day. Last year we started doing an annual comedy club sponsors us in Gaithersburg. And Denise was speaking.
That's
with
neat.
One of the farms that does the ice cream where you can round up your purchase to donate to Poolesville Cats. We also go to the firehouse fundraisers. That's usually after, not the fundraiser, but after Poolesville Day. When we set up there, we've been looking to expand that to, Potomac Day, and other towns as well.
And the reach is only though, I mean, you can fundraise, I don't care where you would fundraise, but the money is spent here with our residents, with the cats that are amongst our residents here.
Yes.
Correct?
And we work closely with Peachtree and with Poolesville Cats. Those are our two.
You couldn't get that bill down from, Richard, I think quoted $7,000, $7,500, $8,000. You couldn't get that bill down on the one cat?
Do they give you discounts?
They give us a 10% discount.
Okay.
We have tried to get them to give us a more substantial discount.
I'm sure you have, and so I appreciate that, and that's good. I'm not kidding around. I know that you guys have worked hard to try and get the money as lowered as possible from the professionals that render services. So,
And the other thing is, like, when we are tight for money, we will do what we can. So we have worked with MC3. We have worked with Frederick County 501c3s to kind of piggyback on them and see, hey, you guys have this set up for a bunch of cats to be spayed and neutered this day. Do you guys have any open spots? You can take one of our cats. And then, written
Nice.
a check for that. We do, to answer your previous question, we have a record of everything, of our receipts, our incoming, our outgoing. That is all with our treasurer, so we can definitely get that if we have not provided it. But yes, most of, I won't say most, but I would say 90% of what is spent on cats that were found in Poolesville, living in Poolesville, and even cats that we get from the outskirts, like Darnestown. They end up finding homes within Poolesville and bought use of our Poolesville Cats page.
it's good. No need for any further. I appreciate that testimony. Richard, appreciate your testimony as well. Listen, we're going to have other resident commentary that's going to come in. Might be negative. We just listen to everything. And then we'll have a discussion amongst the board members to talk about a way forward. Yes, go ahead.
I was gonna say one more thing. The $7,500 that we spent on Casey Cat, I don't want
Yes.
you guys to think that's a regular occurrence. This is that was the first time, we actually didn't expect the bill to be that big. We didn't know exactly what was going on. We knew that
Yeah.
this was a bleeding cat, that had obvious serious injuries. So we expected one high bill. We didn't expect the
Multiple.
multiple high bills.
Understand.
And we did get.
Now, they're living creatures. I get it. Right, yeah. I don't want my family to pull the plug on me if there's something ongoing. I get that. It's, smart to keep going with what you did, so I get that. Everybody make note of that I said that about my family, okay? You're going to be, no, you did not hear pull the plug. Appreciate that. No, it's nothing like that. All right, forget I said anything to you guys, never mind. All right, CAT team, really appreciate all the testimony and the good conversation. Jerry, if you want to come on back up, you're going to have your part two.
Yes, sir.
Sounds like you're going to be ready to write a big check for Poolesville Cats, if I'm prepared that right.
Greetings again. I'm Jerry.
Okay, never mind.
Klobakowski, live at 17300 Fletchall Road in Poolesville. I'm here to voice my opposition to the $2,500 grant requested by Poolesville Cats Incorporated from the town, which is a laudable intent. The request says it's a 501(c) organization. However, like you mentioned, the grant application is incomplete. It does not provide any financial information as to how much money it has raised from public donations or how it was expended or plans to be expended. As I've stated at past town commissioner meetings, I'm against supporting 501(c) organizations because they return year after year for town support, even though some have said they only need one-time contributions. And I can point out some of those. Additionally, the amounts requested in the following years tend to grow. I like cats. I recognize that the Poolesville Cats is an egalitarian effort. However, animals that I like are not necessarily ones that others like. I have seen mange foxes running around town. I've heard that there are people who have gone to the veterinarian, purchased the medicine to cure mange, incorporated it in some food, which the fox ate, and now is cured of mange. That does not mean I am advocating for Poolesville Foxes Incorporated, a 501(c) organization, or one for coyotes, one for deer, or weasels. It's hard to say no to these requests, but it's not your money. It is the taxpayers' money. And although some town residents may support this request, I doubt the vast majority of them do. So I would say just say no. There has to be a point at which you stop. And with everything that's going on, and they already have a booth at Poolesville Day, and it seems like they get quite a few contributions. I think, did she say $15,000? Well, that's not small change. So I understand $2,500 is nothing to sniff at, but I think it's time to say no. Thank you.
Appreciate that. Thank you, Jerry. Yes, Bob Roy, ready to go? Mm-hmm. Tee him up.
Yeah, but I think you created and I second Jerry's comment.
Okay.
Gotcha. So, Bob, so your testimony is that you're seconding the testimony of Jerry Klobakowski. Is that correct?
Yeah, and you brought up the financial issue that I had, so I'm good.
Okay. Thank you for that. We appreciate it. Wade's giving me a look. Yes, sir. No, that was just a normal look? Okay, couldn't hear it. So Bob's testimony was that he seconded Jerry's testimony. And appreciate that testimony, Bob. Appreciate it, Jerry. Okay, so nobody else online to bring this up? No one's texted me? All right, well, that's a good sign, too. The controversy and questioning for the commissioners on this, if you just read our grant application, you'll see there's some requirements for it. And I'm not going to say that we've been hardcore on those requirements either. There's been times when we've given seed money to like a community group, a people-based community group, nothing against animals, but a people-based community group, to allow them to get started so that they can become something that we do not have to support. I am with Jerry too, because we have run into some legacy funding issues, which I think we need to take a very hard look at the next budget process so that we're not establishing legacy issues with the taxpayers' money. That being said, I'm open to any of the questions, thoughts, etc.
The purpose of these community grants.
Either one of you guys can come up to the table because we'll probably have questions. So that's good. Thank you for that. Appreciate it.
I think I'm thinking out loud a little bit. The purpose of these community grants is to support the town of Poolesville residents. I don't know what my final decision is, but I am impressed with the community service that you are all providing in caring for these cats. We don't have issues with stray cats running through our neighborhoods and streets, and I appreciate that. So in that way, I think that what you are asking for qualifies or is eligible under the terms of what we look at in terms of criteria. We have a certain amount set aside for community grants throughout the year. I heard Jerry say, when does it stop? Well, we have a budgeted amount, and that's when it stops.
stopping point.
Right, that is the stopping point. So for thought process, how much do we have left in that line item, that budget line item?
Brand new fiscal year, so we have $5,000 in that account.
Okay, so we have enough to offer essentially 2 community grants through the year.
For the year, yeah.
Or 10 community grants at $500
Right.
each.
Sure, sure. Okay.
I remember we had, the Pride group came up and wanted, asked us for money, and we weren't willing to give it to them until we saw a budget. We saw financial information about how they were gonna bring in money, other ways they were gonna fundraise, and the way they were gonna expense it. So, for me, I have trouble making a decision to grant money without knowing. I mean, you guys have told an unbelievable story, and I'm in full support of your efforts. But I don't have the evidence in front of me to make a conscious decision to grant money that I know will go to good use. I mean, I trust you guys, but it's not the evidence that we need for me to be able to say that's a good place to put our money.
I'll say, I'm going to piggyback on with Brian. I agree everything what he was saying. I'm looking at the Montgomery County Animal Services website, and they have a substantial list of financial resources and grants. Well, my notes prior to me looking at that site, obviously you've mentioned MC3, MC Paul. There's a freelance felines that have grants applications. Have you applied for any of those grants in the past?
They're asking us for help.
Really?
Yes.
And see, that's what I don't know. So, again, we're going through the financial statements.
When you say they're asking you for help, is that financial help or just services? So they may have money for you.
Pardon me?
If Alan's seeing grants from those organizations, they may have money for you if you know about the grants and can ask.
That's people I know. Everybody's hurting for money.
Yeah.
And Friends of Montgomery County Animals is probably the one with the most money.
Is that the Animal Welfare League of Montgomery County?
No.
Okay.
Animal welfare.
That's another organization like us, pretty much.
Animal Welfare League of Montgomery County. My mother was on the board of directors for a little bit. I can tell you they talk a big game, but they are a little action behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
So, I mean, that's,
It just would help if we knew that there's
Yes.
other sources of funding,
and like I said, we had asked for Poolesville Pride for the, total expenses for the year. A lot of people come in for mini grants or grants, but we need the financials and the information so we can see how much it really goes against. Look, $7,500, I've had dogs and cats my entire life. I mean, my dog, I've saved her for 3 years, and, it's expensive. So, but again, a little bit more information, and I think, we can come back to this.
Ed, what are you thinking?
Yeah,
Thanks, Alan.
And so I was listening, and I'm also just going through doing some research, some of the other organizations that do that, and I actually was just reading through the financials for Animal Welfare League, just looking at the donations that they had. Like I saw one year they got donations up to $85,000. And so one of those things, and I was listening to you about the fundraising, but let me back up. I think what you're doing is very noble, and it's a very needed service to help animals. I like dogs, I like cats, and I think that's something that's very admirable and very heartfelt. And then I also wrestle with looking at the fiscal stewardship that we have also at the county for here in our town of Poolesville, and when we have the grants. And I know that we just kicked off a new fiscal year, and I think where you said we have $5,000 in that account. And I know also that the grants can be, for this amount, could be submitted at any time. One, I would like to see all the whole completed piece, all the information, and then two, I was listening to you with the fundraising, and I would be interested in knowing, in addition to that Poolesville Day, what's some of that fundraising strategy that you have, and looking at, I think about some of the other organizations, nonprofits who have been here in Poolesville, and then looking at what is that strategy that they have for fundraising. And I would tell you with fundraising, I've participated. I've actually ran a nonprofit, been a president of a statewide nonprofit, and I would tell you, don't feel bad about asking individuals for money, because those individuals who support that cause, they wouldn't have, some of them won't have a problem. Like if you ask, I'll go on record if you say, hey, this is the cause, would you be willing to support what you're doing? If you ask me, I'm like, yeah, I'm sure. I know my wife would right away, right? But if you don't ask, you block the people who might donate to your cause. You deny them the opportunity to make that decision. And I would just encourage, let people make the decision for themselves if they want to donate to your cause or not. But like I said before, I know if my wife knew about it, I'll tell her that, hey, here's an opportunity. And so we, as a family, I can't speak for everybody else, but I can speak for my own house, is that we do give a certain amount to different charities that we support. And I think where we get into some kind of challenges, I'll go back to that financial stewardship piece, is when it's the town's money, not necessarily my money, but then I got to listen to the two comments that came in, and got to take in consideration what Jerry is saying, have to take in consideration what Bob is saying, and other members of the town. So that's where I am.
And one thing I wanted to add, when you break down the financials, can you break it down into like, for food, medical, obviously, just break it down into tiers. I don't know everything about how it's broken down, but if you can show me some data with that kind of expenses, that would be helpful as well.
Yes, we can. We have that.
I'm sure you do, because I know you guys have to file, tax for 501c3, and, everybody wants to look at that, so.
We have that record broken down. and
Perfect.
So we will provide that, yes.
Okay, so unless I'm reading the wrong room incorrectly, we're talking about tabling this until we see more information coming in from the group, and then we're going to have another discussion about it, as we do as stewards for the town's money, and then we will reconsider if the grant will be allowed, and if it's not the grant for itself, maybe a partial amount. We do want to show support, I know, and I can tell you to a person behind this desk all the way around that we're greatly appreciative of your efforts. And we also see it, I mean, I've lived here long enough. I knew what it was like on Hurstberger with a dozen cats just running around all over the place. The efforts that you guys have done have been tremendous, and they
Very
have made a
admirable,
big difference.
yes.
So I'd like to support you. We need more information. And if you get it to town staff, let them distribute it. We'll get you on the agenda for another meeting, and we'll have a conversation about it once we have all the pieces in front of us. Board, are you okay with that?
Yeah, I just want to add, I want to give them
Sure.
one more tip.
Yep.
Ask your 1,000 members to send us a message. Like Ed said, we respond to, and we're responsible to, the community. So reach out to the people who are your supporters, and have them send us a quick note. There's a place on the website where they can message all 5 commissioners at once.
And I'll give you some unsolicited thoughts as well with that 1,000-member base. Even if you go through, one of the things that worked well for me when I was doing fundraising is that I had monthly themes. And so I had a board, and we would have monthly themes with opportunities to donate. And if you watch some of the folks who are in larger politics than what we are, they have no hesitation with asking folks for a donation. Get a picture of a cat, adopt a cat. Or maybe you might not want to adopt a cat, but you can support a cat. You can help us. We take donations in the amounts of $25, $50, $75, $100, $200, $250. Here's what you got to do. Here's the QR code. Just go straight to us. It's, and so it's something as simple. When you get over that discomfort of giving people the opportunity to invest where they want to invest, there are those who might not want to take the cat in, but there are those who would say, hey, this is a noble cause. And like I said, you can take me up on it. I'm willing to put some skin in the game personally. And I can't speak for the town, but I have no problem doing something like that.
You can speak for me, for
some-
you, no, for your contribution.
Yeah.
I'll put some of Ed's money in too.
Hey, look, and then they'll match me.
Oh, I got in trouble last time I said that, so I don't know about that.
That was with me.
Any more other solicited or unsolicited advice for the commissioners? You guys good? I want to say thank you again for the work you've done. Please turn in your paperwork to the town hall so we can treat it like we treat other grant requests, and then we'll have a further conversation.
Yeah, so
Keep up the good
real
work.
quick, so I just did a quick search, just for Maryland spray and neuter grants awarded $959,216 for neutering and spaying in 2024.
Wow.
So, $1 million. It's out there. It's out there.
And by the way, we can help you solicit for that
Correct.
too.
And that's what I was
Yeah,
gonna
that's,
say. I mean,
we
let
could
us.
use the
let us-
power of the municipality behind it.
And
Establish a position on our board that goes and looks for these.
We volunteer, Niles, all the time.
But Niles has
Help people
nothing
with
else to do,
That's now.
but, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, look at
going
Ed.
towards that, also is where are those grants going? Because, I mean, individuals can go and apply for grants for
Correct.
their personal cats as well. And
That may be where it's going.
so like I said, we're trying to find someone who will look into all of this for us, and it
Help
gets
you with some
difficult,
grants.
but being a 501c3,
Yeah.
there are things we cannot do.
Yeah.
So we have to look into the legal and the treasurer part of that.
Well, another thing that might be helpful, and I think we did this last year, the year before. We had a meet and greet for a lot of the
Like nonprofits.
Nonprofits. Maybe we'll do that again. Is a meet and greet for nonprofits where in the town of Poolesville, and how they can learn best practices and strategies from each other, because we have a lot of them here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then what we also did was we had a list of people in the town who have experience, professional experience, writing grants, and they provided feedback for these organizations. So, I mean, that's something I think we should continue to do as much as possible.
And some organizations who have the same mission, they will piggyback with each other and go after a grant together. And so that's some of the out of the box. So so I'll just conclude is let's look at where I think we could help you is saying, hey, here are some of the strategies you might want to consider, right? And look at, even though it's cats, there are other nonprofits who have the same challenges of looking at how you're going to raise funds. And so some folks have really mastered that. Some are still learning at it, especially when a lot of people volunteer.
Yeah.
That's it for me.
Are you sure?
I'm positive.
So you guys have your marching orders. Thank you for coming in, and
Thank you so
appreciate the
much.
intro.
Absolutely, thank you very
And
much.
continued good work. Appreciate that. Watch out, the newspaper's coming. All right. Okay, thanks, staff, thanks, commissioners, for the conversations there. Grace Cottages, water and sewer bonds. I feel the town engineer making his way to the podium.
You're psychic.
I am.
Good evening. John Strong, Clark Azar Associates, and Town Engineer.
I'm out for a second, John. You guys can leave if you want to. No worries. Thank you for coming.
We won't feel bad.
Sorry. Thank you.
Take care.
All right.
All
Way to
right.
go, John. Nobody can clear a room like one of your reports.
Yeah, I know. Either that or they go to sleep, one or the other. There you go. So Grace Cottage subdivision, which is the 3 lots that's down the road here, they requested release of their bonds. We can't give a full release, but we can reduce it. This is for water and sewer. Bonds SU 7111582-0000 and 1582-0000. the water and sewer bond, they want a reduction to 50%, which is $109, $109,848. We've gotten the bond submittal. We currently looked it over. We looked at the as-built. We were there when they did the installation, and it was installed per our requirements. They tested everything off. Materials used followed the plans and specifications. So we do recommend that that be approved. In conclusion, we do want to acknowledge that after 1 year, they would be able to go to a 25% bond of the original amount, and that is $54,924. And then at the second year after this, they would be going to zero on that bond. So we would recommend proceeding unless some abnormal thing happens, and then we step in at that point. Any questions?
No, I appreciate that. Did we have some sort of citizen feedback on that one? Oh, we did. You guys had a conversation with the citizens. When were those questions answered?
Yes, sir.
And were they anything really to do with the procedural scenario here that we're talking about?
Not understanding the procedures that were in place and where the actual installation occurred.
Okay. And no other customer client feedback on this? Residents? Nobody else?
No, that's.
Is they're not, and the group from Grace Cottages isn't asking for, we're not giving them something different than what they're asking for?
No, it'd be the only thing that we're laying out the policy of reduction that we added to it that they didn't recognize in their letter.
Understood. Yeah, I get it. All right, commissioners, questions for John on this?
It seems
Very
Is this just
straightforward.
a report? Do we need to do anything with it?
You just need to approve the reduction in the bond.
Okay,
I'll make a
Okay.
motion.
yeah.
Yes, if you can give us a
Approve the
motion.
reduction of the bond as written.
Second?
Motion made by Brian Bupp to reduce the bond as presented by, bond amount as presented by Engineer John Strong, second by Sarah. And then you have better language for me than this?
That works fine. The minutes will reflect exactly.
Okay, very good. All right, very good. So we have a motion on the floor. We have a second. Any other questions for the engineer or anybody else? Nope. All in favor of the motion, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? None? Okay, very good. Thank you. Thanks, John, for the
Thank you.
presentation.
John.
Appreciate it. Town staff, prep work, et cetera. All right. Maryland Municipal League Conference recap.
That's huge.
I think it's a good idea. And I like the sound of it, especially since I didn't go. So now I get a chance to hear it for once versus being there and doing all the work that you guys did this time. So much appreciated. So who wants to get started on that? Do we have anything in writing, or are we just going to go off the cuff from each of the commissioners?
I will, oh, sorry, we do have something in writing. So.
Yes.
it's still being worked on.
I'm going to
The
just
answer is
say,
yes and
and it's
yes.
a living document, right, we're adding to it as we go, pretty close to complete, from my perspective. However, so I'm going to leave that.
Maybe we can each just share like a highlight.
Yeah, that's all I want to do.
Because it's too much.
I was really,
Highlights good.
excited to hear that there is $64 million in energy grants available from the state of Maryland, and they don't know who or how they're going to allocate it. They want to hear from municipalities to tell them how they're going to allocate it. And I know we have a streetscape project coming up, and the community center, which might be able to, those type things.
That was a sustainable grant from Mike Honeyhake.
Yeah,
That was the 64,000 that was you're speaking of?
Oh, 64.
4 million.
There's a
A
new
million, I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah,
million.
okay.
yes, that's
Okay.
that's that one.
Yes, okay.
We have information.
From
information.
the
And I had a
Sustainable
feeling I'd be
Maryland.
telling you nothing new, but I just wanted to say it.
Yeah.
Because it felt so good to hear how much money. And then also the state Department of Recreation
Yep.
is putting on things such as Bike and Brews. And I can't remember the lady's name that chairs that committee, but her department, she said, you guys are from Poolesville. You guys have breweries around there. In a great bike community, it'd be awesome to be able to put together a bike and
We
brew.
used to have a great brewery.
Yeah, maybe it'll reopen. I think I've heard rumors that it might. So we just said yes, but I mean, they could bike to Crossvines, they could bike to anywhere really and get
Andy Olek, I think was her name.
Olek is
Yes.
exactly right.
Sandy Olek.
Alliteration doesn't work with wine, but
Yeah.
we could pretend.
She was
But
a-
anyway, they just brought to light the fact that the state's trying to do things
Yeah, it's good.
that we're not aware of, and if we're aware of it, we can make,
Capitalize on it.
yeah.
Yeah.
And Alan made some nice connections with the Allegheny,
City of Cumberland,
City of Cumberland, and
Frostburg. Yeah.
two municipalities out there, and some of the things that they're doing with their,
But our arts and entertainment.
They're actually getting rid of their dam so they can actually have more bike traffic come down and have.
boat traffic.
So it's a different approach, but it's an educational purpose for us, and I had reached out to the city, not to, since you were talking, but
Just a handoff.
spoke with the mayor at length several times. Niles, Preston, our vice chair, Mike, we'll have to go out, do a little field trip session, trying to get in actually this Friday, just so we can get a little, the iron's hot, so might as well strike. So, but yeah, I mean, it was, the more being the Parks Board liaison for the commissionership, just to educate myself on other municipalities and how they operate. Everybody doesn't operate the same. Most, I would say, nobody really operates the same because you got different staff, different personalities, different budgets. You got resources that, we have more resources than others, but it's the amount of resources and financial resources Brian was mentioning with that outdoor rec class we had. We had it was probably top two, maybe the top class that I attended with the wealth of knowledge. The other senator there, I think Mary Beth Carraza, maybe. Very knowledgeable as well, but options are unlimited, you guys know, with putting up, playground equipment and some of the interactive stuff. It was just, it's really wild. It's really wild to see. So, and again, and as Poolesville, we have to set the standard everybody else. I don't want to play catch up. And, we have the residents and we have the thoughts and the advocacy for it, So it was good. Just, a couple other takes because that was a great class. Just really networking, getting to meet people, even people from the city of Brunswick,
Yeah.
Frederick. I mean, just, Cumberland, it's just because my mom was from there and I still have aunts in Cumberland, so I could actually relate to a lot of the downtown. I still go up there 4 or 5 times a year, so I can relate to some of the history part of it too. And they just did a big streetscape with Baltimore Avenue that's been going on for years. So that was completed. They have a big tourism. So it all kind of, is a collaboration with what we're doing here. But they're complete. We quite haven't started yet. So might answer some questions that we have and some, issues. But again, overall is a great time with commissioners, great time, just camaraderie, just very educational, all the classes. Look forward to next year, so much so that I've already booked the hotel room. Not saying anything, but, at least it's locked in. But it's a lot of information to process. I took a bunch of notes. We did a Mad Lib, session with our online documentation. But I'm looking forward to, seeing what this new level goes with. So, but that's what I have.
Cool. I remember my first MML.
You haven't been back.
The nostalgia.
I had the same
and
level,
done?
I had the same level of excitement.
I remember the first time I set foot in the Princess Royale Hotel.
There
Thank you very much for those pricey accommodations.
there goes our Ocean City relationship. Okay. Right down the tube.
Fortunately, the speakers doesn't pick him up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Mute that mic, please.
All right, so some of
go
the
ahead.
things that stood out
Sure.
for me, it was the emphasis on cybersecurity. And that a lot of the sessions I went to were nice, were good sessions, but the cybersecurity, I actually went to a couple of them. And it had me think about the importance for us to really just do a review of where we are and look at a risk assessment, vulnerability. What do we do to make sure that we're not being reactive to an attack, but we're prepared for some. Another one I went to that was really good was the cyber security dealing with water, or your water your treatment and your sewage. And spent some time talking to Senator Hester, and so she sent me a copy of a bill that she had submitted, and so I'm going to continue to study that, and I'll share that with you, just to look for ideas. But I think it's good for us to really be proactive with our cybersecurity.
I think they actually said it's 80 to 120 80 to 120 attacks every second.
Yeah.
Wastewater systems.
Yeah, and then
Yeah, I know, I saw your notes on that. saying-
Yeah. I have plenty of notes on that.
Yeah.
And just 2 practical points on that. Tomorrow, we are meeting with the State Department of Information Technology to start our part of the grant program that we.
From last, that
From
you applied
last
for
year.
last year. Okay. Good,
To
good.
do the assessment part. So the kickoff call is tomorrow on that. And then we've had a preliminary discussion about some of the specific requirements in the state law about water and wastewater. So some of that will be part and parcel of the same assessment, because they're going to be assessing everything. And then part of it is there's some specific training that the state is going to offer on these topics directly. And so we talked about that in that session as well. So we're already moving forward. This was something that was already in the works. This assessment will allow us to get grant money to make changes. So it's a 2-part sort of grant process to make changes or get new equipment or whatever we decide the vulnerabilities are. So just a little heads up there.
all right, that's a good one. And speaking of grant money, another session that I went to was grant funding for America's 250th.
Yeah.
And did I give you?
You gave me some of the information, but you're going
Okay.
to send me something else too.
All right, so I'll follow up with you on that. One of the things that could be better is, and I'll talk to MML about this, is the presentations that weren't attached
Yes.
that they said we would get.
And I had a conversation with Iris on the last day, and they were at a backlog in trying to get all of those uploaded. I checked the app today. The app was down today.
You have to
So-
reload
You got to
it.
You got to
reload.
reload it? Okay.
It gave me that heads up, and that worked
Okay.
great.
Okay,
Alan,
perfect.
Alan
I did
brought it to
that,
my
and then-
attention.
and then there
perfect.
were-
So I reached out to
Yeah,
Sharon.
and then there were a lot
Silent
of
majority over here.
slides
Yeah, so that
were
might
there
be-
today that weren't there before.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. So we'll pull that. And I added, for one of the sessions, I added the presentation that I already had, and we'll add some more as time goes on.
But here's something for you to note then, is that it's the Maryland 250 Commission. They have 2 different types of grants. And so looking at what your municipality might do to celebrate the 250th anniversary of the country. So that's a starting point. And the contact person there is Michelle Johnson.
Yeah, I think that's what you'd send me, I think.
Yeah, so start with her, and then I won't be repetitive, but that $64 million grant is a one-time thing. I think I gave you those papers also.
Yes, I have
So that's
that, yeah.
yep. Yeah.
Did you look into that semi-rural grant
Yes,
stuff yet?
I have,
Anything there that looks promising?
not yet. I'm still sort of sifting through it, but that was the Rural Council. We got the information there.
Those are more of a long shot.
Yes,
Always to look into them.
yeah.
A good long shot.
We're considered rural by everybody in Downey County until you apply for something rural.
Yeah,
I know.
Yeah.
Well,
we're
that's
not
why it
rural
was
anymore.
exciting that they had a category called semi-rural.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I'm like, okay, that,
Still doesn't apply. No, it's, I like the encouragement of it.
I was thinking about our pool bubble, and so we had a brief chat with someone from the Maryland Disabilities Office, and they gave us the name of someone, and I don't know if this is someone that Niles should follow up with or like Link should, but they said this is a person that we could talk to about making sure our pool is ADA compliant, but then also just working with them and their resources and contacts to try to position our pool as a pool that would be dedicated towards people with disabilities, especially when the one in like Germantown is overcrowded and full with other types of activities. So that was one of the highlights. We had a really good conversation with her. One of the other, I'm more sharing like very specific ideas that were sparked. Another one was, can we have Narcan in our AED boxes? So in piggybacking on the states and counties' efforts to prevent deaths from overdoses, I don't know in our town if someone was looking for Narcan, like where would they get it? I mean, maybe CVS carries it. I don't even know.
imagine so.
But like we don't have, because we don't have an urgent care here, you know, in Poolesville. If we needed those types of resources, where can we tell our community members, like, oh, come to town hall, maybe we provide it here, or maybe they're in the AED boxes, I don't know.
Yeah.
But that's something I would like for us to talk about as a town, like how can we be better prepared to handle those types of emergencies, given that we don't have a public clinic.
I'll jump in on some of that. A few years ago, I don't know if you were here then or not, but a few years ago, the county had sent someone out here to do a training on Narcan, and so the place was packed. And actually, they were giving out, you go through the training, then they were giving out the Narcan. I actually keep a couple of them in my car.
Yeah.
And so it was a great training. It was simple, and I was really impressed because it actually was like standing room only.
Yeah.
So that
Maybe
might
that's
be
something we
to
could do
revisit.
regularly.
Yeah, to have them come out here, do the training, hand out the Narcan.
Yeah.
And then it probably warrants more conversation of where people could come and pick up Narcan, or just if there's a situation. I know in some places they had Narcan in the library.
That's what I'm checking right now.
Yeah,
Okay.
like I know in Philadelphia, because they had a major problem with people just out in the yards, but the library was a place where they had Narcan because of the deaths that were taking place from the fentanyl.
And they were also highlighting fentanyl strips. So I think those two things kind of go hand in hand. Like, where can residents find those two things? And then maybe the other thing that was highlighted, I really enjoyed the presentation that we went to that Lily Chi was facilitating, and it was about the family
Leave.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What's the official name of the bill?
it's like the Family Medical Leave Act, but it's specific. It's the Maryland one, and I'm blanking on its name right now.
But
Time to Care Act.
Time to Care Act. So it's not going into effect until 2027,
So, yeah, it's,
2026 and
so
2027.
2027 and 2028.
Yeah, so 2027 is when you can start, putting the money in. 2028 is when you can start drawing from it. But I really, as a small business owner, I also was really excited to hear that there was a way for small businesses to participate in the program, so that people working at small businesses still have access to paid leave. So I think there's going to be an opportunity for reaching out, working maybe with our Chamber of Commerce, reaching out to local small businesses so that they're aware of the program, because I would suspect that the majority of our businesses in town fall in that category. And then also, obviously, staff here,
Yeah.
what we decide to do here.
Yeah,
at
and that's
town
where
hall.
we have to have the conversation about the collaborative or not, and what we want to do there. So,
Yeah. So anyways, that was really interesting.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very good. More?
Sure, I'll give you one more.
Yep.
All right. The Dignity Index.
Oh, that was
That's a 7.2 right there.
I'm up.
And so actually, it was really good. It's
That was excellent.
It was Tim Shiver, and he was just talking about how, regardless of where a person might stand politically, is how you engage with other people. And so there's a whole index that goes from a 1 to a 7, but there's some printout cards. And when we think about how do you promote civility, and this is, and in some school systems, they're using this to talk to folks about how they engage with other people so that you can have a more friendly community. So maybe if we can get some of those cards, even just to put in the lobby.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
All right.
in
Yeah, I
our,
think
in
that
our
would-
library, in
Library,
town
public
hall.
spaces.
See them right next to agendas. When people come in and get the agenda, they can.
There we go.
Yeah, and
Maybe
even a
have
little
it
post.
on the banner of Facebook,
All right.
so that people remember to treat each other like
Strive for
human
5
beings.
or better, right? That's what you say, strive for 5.
Yeah, we were doing a lot of, we actually, or during our conversations, we had a lot of ratings afterwards. That was a 5. That might have been a 2. I don't know. But it was interesting. And the last thing I wanted to add was social media class I went to.
The social media First Amendment one?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, it wasn't the First Amendment. This was just social media.
Last day.
Oh, I
Yeah.
went to the social media.
You did, yeah, we split them. So, similar post a lot of towns get that we do. You know, but less is more. Anne Arundel County got rid of theirs completely due to just, not factual.
City of Ginsburg has a dedicated person to do it.
And in my notes, I'd like to reach out to her and have her come, just do a little forum with us.
Session. for-
Yeah, I think it'd be fantastic. Very knowledgeable. She knows every platform.
We should have her at the meeting when Poolesville Cats comes back.
Yeah.
She had cat stuff on her. Like,
Oh, yeah. Cat earrings, everything. But it was,
That's great.
but it was good class to listen to, and it can get crazy, but we're good.
it's just to, keep everything consistent. If you're gonna post as a municipality, keep the type of stuff that you post about the same, use the same formatting, same branding.
Turn commenting off.
Yeah, two things. If you're not gonna have somebody watching comments and removing the bad ones, then just turn it off. Just post it, that's it.
Use it as a way to just push in.
Information, yeah.
Yeah.
And they do alerts like we do, which is great. But again, it's just, some of the issues with Denton, with the, body cams of their own police force and stuff like that, an hour episode, somebody carved it into
30 seconds.
30 seconds, and it would just,
Worldwide attention.
yes.
What was it again?
Is the Denton Police Department, he didn't go to the exact,
Details of the police camera
So there was
video.
an hour of footage, somebody condensed it, and so it was out of.
30
context.
seconds.
cut out 30 seconds of it that made the police department look bad.
They're getting death threats, everything. So I was like, okay, so. But it was a lot of good information.
Cool. Good. Everybody else? Anything else?
64 million, the crumb rubber in asphalt, do we have a requirement for any of our asphalt to contain crumb rubber?
We do not.
Recycled rubber, as part of the sustainability.
The state, when we order our state mixes, they have a percentage of recycled that they use.
The guy just mentioned it, he didn't tell us what percentage to shoot for or anything like that, but just said, make sure you're getting, just a good way to use up old rubber, I think, right?
It's recycled asphalt is what they use. Is the millings that we do.
Yeah, but he's saying that you have to have rubber, like old tires.
It would be whatever the state highway requires.
We do the same thing as state highway, okay.
Because when we spec the plans, they're spec
Yep.
as state highway mix, blah, blah, blah.
So anyway, well, those are interesting sustainability.
Cool. Good. Good job, guys. Way to go. Everybody like the vendor walk?
It was good.
Isn't it interesting?
It is.
And the amount of people that we do business with already
Yeah.
that are in those aisles.
I will just recommend that you need to do the vendor walk with Wade and Niles, because they know all the vendors.
You don't have to do any
I
talking.
learned so
You know what, we did,
much by listening to you all.
you guys should do the walk with Ed, Brian, and I. Talk to Titus. Or
Bates. We talked to Bates.
Yeah, that was,
Honest, gave him honest feedback.
yep, they love me.
Yes,
But it was a 5 or higher.
It was a 4.6. But he ended with a 5.
I don't know why they kept saying, I like you three better than Wade and Niles.
Well, we had honest conversation. Okay, good stuff, guys. Thank you for that. Appreciate it. Anything else regarding that? I'm not folding it up. I'm just don't have to look at my computer anymore. Anything else we have?
Town manager report. Oh, you're done with this subject?
I am, yes,
Yeah.
I'm done with this subject.
Let's do the town manager.
Yep, thank you.
Okay, so, our $4 million grant we're getting from SHA is coming through. I had another meeting with them and EBA Engineering, who's the assigned contractor that does the engineering for the state. They won the contract. So we've put together the scope of work. It's been approved of all parties. They're working on a price. The design engineer will, and then I'm gonna have to negotiate the price down with them. And then that's probably gonna take until April. In the springtime, we'll finally get that negotiated out and approved by the state. And it goes to federal, then we can go out to bid for construction. And we need to be in construction, be awarded by September 2026. So it's still gonna take some time, but, you know, at least we have some milestones set aside and when we have to meet dates, and so it's happening.
Seems quickly, so
forever.
you're not gonna have it negotiated till April 2026, and we gotta be in construction by September?
So that's we're gonna try to beat those milestones, of course.
Okay.
It
Yeah,
won't be
just
held up,
seems-
it won't be held up because of our part. What's
Right.
gonna happen is, I'm gonna agree, go back and forth, and we'll come to an agreement, then it goes to the state. And the state last time came back to me and said, we need to negotiate this portion down, so I had to go back to them. Then, once we do that, then it goes to the state, then it goes to the feds, and the feds have to approve it, then they can send it back down, hopefully with no more comments to the state. So there's this little bureaucracy that has to go back and forth, so that's why it takes that time.
Wait, so question for you, and I didn't ask you this question earlier today. Is there going to be the possibility that we're going to have to come up with more money to accomplish our goals in order to do everything at the same time?
It's too soon to tell. So we were able to change the scope from original scope that we applied for the grant was doing the section next door. Now that we're causing the developer, put the onus on him to go ahead and do all the streetscape work on that section, that takes a big chunk of it out for us. Yeah. So
Yep.
We've been sending them all kinds of information and trying to get that ball rolling, so.
I mean,
Too soon to tell.
okay, just overridingly, I would like to see us still accomplish our goals and not have it be cut down to,
No, we have our
that we don't
20%.
do our bottom 20% we don't accomplish because it just wasn't funded properly.
And we have our 20% set aside, so we won't know until we award the contract.
Understood.
That's the bottom line.
Right. And my bottom line is we still need to accomplish everything that's on there as best we can.
Absolutely,
so.
yeah.
Okay, good. I just, thank you for saying that.
Okay. As you can see, the electrical project out in front is underway. It's not borrowing electricity for the development next door. We did award the contract to them, and we had one bidder that came in on it. That's why we went ahead and just awarded the contract. Looks like a couple of weeks it'll take them to get it done. We do have our event coming up on July 25th, so the hope is to get it all done, seeded, strawed, and in place by that time. So we had a little of a crunch window that we had to take advantage of to get it done.
Hats off to anybody out there working in that.
Yeah, no kidding.
They worked over the weekend.
I know, I saw it.
That was crazy. John, were you here this weekend too for that? Oh. Yeah. I know you've been watching them like a hog. Okay, no further commentary. Go ahead.
Okay. So the state budget, it's been adopted and they released it. They have earmarked for Poolesville $700,000 for the well 2 and 3 enclosures as a fully awarded contract, or a forgivable loan, they call it. And then $2.8 million for the Westerly Waterline project was also identified in the state revolving loan. I've contacted the attorney and Jay, let them know that we've done this, we've submitted our paperwork to them, so they need to start doing their paperwork, and they'll be back here at some point to be able to finalize that. Probably not until a little bit later in the year, but that's all positive.
Good news.
Yes, and then they also I just got it today, we did rank really high on the PFAS scoring for the project that we submitted for the $5 million. And it looks like right now that we're going to be getting it. They have a public review process they have to go through. They said they won't release the final notifications until sometime early spring. But we were third in line
Great.
project, so that's really good.
Way to go, guys. Congrats, team.
They won't let us know until April.
Hey, working with those guys, everything's just a creeping, slow pace.
Long process.
So that's all I have. Any questions from anybody? Or?
No, before we adjourn, I just want to say, you guys, as we know that longtime clerk Bobby Evans' husband passed away, and thank everybody for signing the card and having our heartfelt wishes for Bobby, and Butch was a good guy, and definitely a Poolesville OG in a lot of ways, and very, very sad to see him pass away. So sympathies to Bobby from the town, and we've, we'll continue to let her know that we have a place for her, so. Anything else, guys? Anybody want to make a motion?
Motion, we adjourn.
Motion to adjourn by Sarah, second.
Aye, or second?
Second by Alan. All in favor of adjournment, please say aye. Aye. Now you say aye.
Yeah, there we go.
All right, thanks, guys. All right. Appreciate it.